All right, most of the news out of fandom is really good. It's all very exciting, and of course, Snyder Cut is at the heart of it all. And it's a great time to be a DC fan, and it's actually the only good news out of 2020. So finally, some amount of relief from the awfulness that is 2020. Well, there may be a little bump in the road of a rumor. Now, did a video on rumors about Zack Snyder's future with his Justice League and whatnot beyond the Snyder Cut. And I think it's somewhat credible because it makes sense, and I think it certainly would be pursued. Whether it happens or not remains to be seen, of course. This is about the future. But what about the future of one of the big successes of the DCEU? There was Aquaman, of course, and then there was Wonder Woman. Was the big star, and excitement for her new film was certainly alive and well. Perhaps a little outshined because of Snyder Cut, but that's to be expected. And of course, unfortunately, the 2020, the outbreak delaying the film. So now there's this rumor that's been running around. Midnight's Edge did a video on it, and now Bounding into Comics is weighing in on it, concerning the possibility that Patty Jenkins is leaving Wonder Woman and will not do the third film, even though she had previously already said she has it mapped out. She already knows what Wonder Woman 3 would be about. And also, there was supposed to be this spin-off film about the Amazons that I think she was going to produce and all of that. But now, with the change in the regime, with AT&T coming in and wanting the DCEU to be revived and put back in place, because following the failure of Justice League, they were going forward with this plan of, well, we're going to have these separate films. Even though you can look at Aquaman, which was probably the first one to come out after this, it still had its connections to the DCEU, and it even mentions the battle with Steppenwolf very briefly, but it's there. As for Wonder Woman, this was to take place in 1984, so it takes place at a time in the past, beyond all of this stuff that's been happening with Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman and all that. But apparently the upset on this is that Jenkins is not pleased with where this is going, and that she's getting interference from Warner's over how her films proceed, in order for to make sure that they fit in with the rest of the DC universe they're making here. And the only thing that's somewhat credible to this is that she was originally supposed to be the director of Thor: The Dark World, but because of the interference and the constraints on it having to make it fit within the MCU, she wasn't crazy about that, and they parted company, and she ended up on Wonder Woman. Now, oddly enough, Wonder Woman was part of the DCEU. That was the idea at the time. That changed after the fact, although albeit very briefly, as it's now back the way it was. But she went into that with, like, now working with Zack Snyder. Apparently, he gave her a lot of freedom on that film, even though look at what the deal is here. He cast Wonder Woman. He cast apparently Steve Trevor. Now maybe they were discussing that at the outset and between him and her, and but that photograph is part of Batman versus Superman, and it's a setup for Wonder Woman. Now, maybe there was an agreement there. Maybe this is like, yeah, she signed off on Chris Pine being Steve Trevor and all that sort of stuff. I can't remember all the details that we're talking about, but Zack Snyder had a hand in that. He's the producer of the film, and he's also on as a executive producer for Wonder Woman 84. But I imagine that's more or less a title, whereas the initial Wonder Woman film had some amount of influence over that. But it's Patty's film, and so the overall story and whatnot. So if it's just that amount of hey, Patty, could it do this or that, and a nod to whatever, where it might be just an Easter egg here or there or something like that, Or it could be the overall direction for Wonder Woman that they want, and it doesn't line up with what she wants for the third and final film that she would do. And that could be something that would cause her to break with it. But I'm not sure that the Zack Snyder stuff, because I want it to be true. This is one I don't want to be true. So, of course, the bias. But there's not enough here to say that there's some credibility to this. It's just the matter of, yes, what her experience with Thor, if that was the main reason why she walked away, and perhaps the interference was more. If this is more of the same and it's even more than that, I don't know. But, of course, the direction has changed, but it's actually changing back to what it was intended to be, and she had signed on at that time. If it's between her and Zach, that seemed to work out for the first movie. So I don't know that she's not willing to work with him again, or to have his films interfere with hers and that sort of thing. But depending on how the story goes out with Justice League and where Wonder Woman ends up at the end of that, we know, at least in the original outcome, Batman was supposed to die. Not in the Snyder Cut that's coming, but the sequels to it that was supposed to have been done to follow it. As for Wonder Woman, I think she survives all of that. And it seems like there'd be plenty of room for Patty to do her own Wonder Woman film to round out the trilogy of Wonder Woman films, whereas the third film is meant to be in current times, not set in some past era. So 84 will be the last of those. And I would think it could be hammered out. And this is, Patty's biggest success here as far as, profitable-wise. Of course, Monster put her on the map, but this is... Wonder Woman. It's a big deal, especially since it was a character a lot of people didn't believe could make it. And she proved all that wrong. And so it would have to be a little bit more than what's stated here in these articles and in the Midnight's Edge video, I would think, for her to be that upset that she would walk away from Wonder Woman. Because that would be a terrible thing to come out of this, especially what is Gal Gadot's thoughts on it. Would she want to walk away too? That would really be a problem. I don't know, but maybe they've got her signed in and she's, she owes them a third film. Who knows? But the meddling has led to a lot of their problems. The meddling they did to Zack Snyder created a lot of the problems that resulted in the ultimate outcome of all of that. So I would think that there's, maybe she did say she was upset and this got leaked out or whatnot, but it seems like something they could probably hammer out as for where this is going, and that, what will be the results of Flashpoint and that sort of thing. If there's some more interference into what Wonder Woman has happened to it beyond Patty's own film, that could be the problem there. And who knows what that is. There's only just been rumors of more Justice League, which I assume would feature Wonder Woman in it, and where would those plots go into how that could interfere with what she intended to do with the third film. I don't know. Does she intend to have Wonder Woman die and live in heaven with Steve Trevor or something like that? They're like, oh, no, you can't do that. I don't know. Is there some conflict over her plot for Wonder Woman 3? That might be the main thing here, rather than just, oh, well, things have changed and the DCEU is back and now she's upset because she doesn't want a shared universe. Well, you signed on to one when you did the first one. That was clearly in place, because Wonder Woman, her first appearance is Batman versus Superman. So that's, in a lot of ways, Wonder Woman spins out of that. So, narratively, within the context of all of this. So, and I kind of wondered if what, how 84 fits in. There are scenes of Wonder Woman smashing security cameras, and that most people won't be aware of her presence. So the idea that by the time you get to the Batman versus Superman storyline, Batman doesn't know who she is, nobody knows who she is, and all this sort of stuff, because she's been living in secret. and the results of 84 might set that up. But then again, what is Patty upset with that she has to link it to this other film to make her story work? And if there's going to be more of that, she's like, all right, I'm done. Maybe so. Maybe that's the deal. But, again, you came onto it that way. So, I mean, I suppose a Flashpoint film, a lot of people thought, oh, it's going to erase Batman versus Superman and all that. It doesn't look like it now with Snyder Cut and everything, unless they're going to do this. Oh, the Wonder Woman films are in their own timeline and blah, blah. Oh, boy, it just gets more and more separated. With the Batman movie, that can still work. And, obviously, it's like, oh, it's like Joker and all that. But the Flash is the same guy, and Wonder Woman is the same Wonder Woman. This isn't some other Wonder Woman, and so on and so forth. So I think that would be a mistake if they tried to do something like that. But hopefully this is much ado about nothing. She'll stay on. She did a very good job with the first one. I have some concerns about the next one, especially if it's just going to be this anti-Trump campaign ad, which is some people, that's got to be exaggerated. I'm sure it's there, and his criticisms of the 80s as if that's the only decade of greed and all that. Oh, God, that's been shot to death by now. It's enough to quit beating that dead horse. But hopefully that's mostly to a minimum to the overall story for Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 84. A lot of the scenes and stuff looks very cool, and with Cheetah and everything. So hopefully whatever problems there are, they can work them out. And we'll get a Wonder Woman 3 and round out the story.
All right. Thank you for watching and listening. Why not like and subscribe and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. Hats, mugs, stickers, posters, all that goody stuff. Plus, you can head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book Night Night. Oh, yeah. Plus, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on my channel at BitChute. That's the Mr Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.